Hey. Excuse my look. It's hot. It is not the hottest, but tomorrow will be the hottest day of this week here in California. And I live close to the beach, and it's in the 90s. Right now, it's about 9 o'clock at night, and still in the late 80s. Yeah, it's pretty bad. High 80s, I should say. Yeah, high 80s, late 80s. So anyway, how you doing? Recovering from the dark episode from my last talk with you guys. I had to bring it up because for somebody like me, those people, those beings that came to ruin everything for all of us, to give us centuries of darkness, blood, and suffering. It affected me directly because I couldn't be myself, right? I was forced to be someone that I wasn't for half my life. I mean, I'm hoping that the next half is better. So now that I've discovered, who I truly am. I mean, it's amazing that throughout my whole life, these traits kept showing up, and I was like, well, dude, because I kept like, no, not right now, you guys. So, but dude, we are you, You can't walk away from you. The reason why I emphasize that point so much is because for a lot of people, it's the difference between night and day, the difference between life and death, the difference between a torturous life or a fun and fulfilling one. And for me, I'm discovering that all those things that I used to run away from and try to hide and be shameful about, I'm still trying to get over the shame, because that's huge in my culture as a Mexican. But also, because if you consider, the fact that this is a happening that keeps happening throughout different lifetimes in my specific journey of my spirit. Think about it, being in Mintaka, swimming around, being a mermaid, being awesome, and seeing these ugly people come over and just take over. What would you do to you as a spirit? Well, it would make you cautious of ever having that much fun again, right? Just being awesome and being girly and a mermaid and just swimming around, being beautiful. So that is part of that shadow that I've been carrying. The fact that if I permit myself to be that awesome, that beautiful, that wonderful, there will be somebody there, that's gonna come and get me. So I have to stay strong. I have to, no, I can't show that, I can't do that. You see, I'm still dealing with it. I mean, I'm aware of it, but it's like this stuff is in there in the cells, and it's a constant, trying to again, it's cleaning house. Just get out of here, just identify these things and get them out of there, because it does take a long process of saying goodbye to these things too, So the sooner you get on it, the better, And the reason again about why I emphasize this point so much is because so many people have gotten hurt over the process over these stigmas that have been placed on people like me, with feminine feelings, with a feminine consciousness, to having to bury all that. I mean, that's a whole life, right? That's a whole lot of stuff that you have to keep hiding and burying. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. It's like the life these evil beings have, they constantly keep screwing people over, so they have to constantly keep, working hard to keep everything on the wraps. This is why I always mention, that the men's suit was invented so scumbags could mingle amongst honest people. I mean, think about it. When do you ever question a person in a suit, right? But they're the fudgers with the most dirt on them, the ones with the most skeletons in their closet. So, yeah, the man's suit was invented so scumbags could mingle among honest people. They've been basically infiltrating our numbers, our lines, you know what I mean? Our columns. So that's why the emphasis, because I care about the people who have to suffer the consequences of these horrible tags and horrible versions. Because these people, again, when you think about the function of the divine feminine, when you think about how many girls are being born during these times, a lot of girls, considering too that women are in this teeter-totter of, I don't know, are we gonna be free or are we not? Are we still talking about that kind of stuff? I mean, I thought that stuff was over back in the early 1900s or, in the 60s, when the women's lib movement started. I thought, okay, so by the time we get to the 90s, it'll be said, and it's just been this thing, it's like trying to ride a bicycle with square wheels, Very slow progress. And then when you consider too that the LGBTQ community starting to come out a little bit more, and people are trying to be because of the example of other people, they're trying to be like, okay, so yeah, I want to be genuine too, I want to be myself, which the other side keeps complaining. It's like, no man, it's like we're getting invaded. These people are finally coming out to breathe, because they've been hiding, in the shadows, hiding, for centuries. And now we are at the times, in the middle of this, or the beginning of this golden age that we're meant to be starting. The divine feminine is meant to kick off. Aquarius is meant to kick off. What is it? This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. I listened to that song, like, oh yeah, everything's pretty accurate. Yeah, that's what's happening right now. Like, wow, and this one's written in the 60s, I think. It's pretty awesome. Oh man, my jaw sometimes, when you get into the fighting game, again, you come out with all kinds of injuries. I've been punched, and my jaw has been dislocated. I had to, pull it back down, pull it, because you pull it down and then back into place, and sometimes it just pops, and then if you hear a pop or a click and on my jaw, I'm so sorry, I don't mean to this, it just happens. So sorry, but it kind of, takes me out of concentration, because all of a sudden I have to deal with that kind of stuff. Yes, I care about the people in the LGBTQ community because, as I mentioned before, they're the bravest people in the world. In a world full of fronters, full of pretenders, full of people who just want to pretend that there's something that they're not. Show, tell, it's all this work. But when you live in a world like this that is full of pretension, to have people who want to be genuine and truth, genuine and true, what's wrong with it? If they want to love who they want to love, it's love. God is love. So what are these people doing? They're in God. They're in love. They want to be parents. Why? Because they come from broken homes too. They had messed up childhood. I mean, imagine a kid who's gay or someone who's trans. They didn't have it easy because the probable rejection of those around this person. This kid. Because essentially we're talking about kids. These things start as a kid. You start to discover yourself, or you start to find out. You find out from the outside world, as I mentioned with to you, with me, that you start noticing that everybody looks at you with weird eyes, and they deal with you with a 10-foot pole. They make faces, they make comments, and pretty soon you start getting the point. So then that's when you start to hide yourself, so you're not made fun of. But where did that start? It's those vicious people that I told you about yesterday. They started all of that. The cruelty, the stories, basically, that have been plaguing us for all these centuries. When anytime when these idiots get a little bit of control, they go after them. In any movement, in any dictatorship, they're the first ones to go after. Like, enough is enough. Why? Because they're weak? Because they're feminine? I'm talking about, because that's essentially the idea, that because they're feminine, they're weak. It's this beliefs stem from these horrible, weird beings that came onto this planet and ruined everything, and they still do it. Those people who want to stick it to the lips, that's them. I mean, think about it. They get pleasure out of messing with people. They get pleasure out of trolling people. They get pleasure out of calling people awful names. Some girls, you could tell. I mean, the mentally defective. I call them mentally defective. Okay, so this is not to offend anybody with learning disabilities or anything like that, because a lot of people like to get offended, or they throw things around like that, like, oh, you're not supposed to say that. It's like, no, wait a minute. My version or my definition of these words is completely different to what is the customary way to define these words. But when I say mentally defective, I mean mentally defective. I mean people who have a lot wrong with them, and they're out free in the street, getting around people. These people should be taken away from people. These people should not have children. These people should not have anybody around that they can hurt. You see why the men's suit was invented? There's no way to just you get over here, because I know what your intentions are, right? So they mingle around, they infiltrate our numbers, and if people come to the conclusion that, oh, people are just messed up, people are mean, people are awful. It's like, it's not all people. Most people just want to love each other and support each other. They're the ones voting for Miss K. No, I have no political affiliations. I can't vote. I'm a legal resident in the United States. So imagine, when I've been telling you that illegals cannot vote, because when I was illegal, I couldn't. It's impossible. It's not possible. It's illegal to do that. The first question that they ask you when you're filling out your voting registration, is, are you a citizen of the United States? And I'm like, because they always send it to me, because they know that I've been here for over 30 years, so they send them to me. And that's the first question. Are you a citizen of the United States? And I know that whenever I say, well, no, okay, thank you. And that's the end of the process. You're already disqualified. So, again, these just stories, lies, it's this necessity of being corrosive. That's what these people do. That's what these people are. That's why I say don't give them an inch. Because they're not too good to have around. They're not good people. They're no good, basically. I've told you this in another video, but because again, the pain that they have caused. I mean, think about, there are kids, trans kids, who are ending it themselves because they don't want any of this. They see what's going on, and it's like, no, I'm out. I don't want to deal with this. And this poor little spirit is going to probably come back again in the next one to still fix this issue, But hopefully things will be better by that time. But in essence, all of us spirit that are here on this lifetime, we're here to make that change. That's what we're here. If you consider the words of Dolores Cannon, there's been waves of light workers, indigo children, crystal children, since the 40s or something like that. That's what she said, that they just keep coming, and when you consider the boomers, baby boomers, they were trying to start this movement, and boom, they got stopped, by the status quo. And that's what it's been like, it's like this, it's like a wave, they come, that's what she called them, right? Waves, and they hit that rock, and that rock, kind of crumbles a little bit, but here comes another one, boom, and then it crumbles a lot more, so again, emphasizing in that, and the divine feminine, that's what's been happening. The winds of change, basically, or the wheels of change have been in motion, and this is where we are. This is why people like me can, I guess, make these kind of talks or offer these kind of talks to give license to everybody else to be themselves, because that's being yourself is everything. And this is not a tagline. This is, it's because you're following your spirit's prompts. You're in touch with it. You're living a genuine life. All you do is express your spirit. Is express yourself with everything you're doing. You're not stuck of thinking, no, I shouldn't, or suspended in space, thinking, I should do this, no, I should do that. But what are they gonna say? There's none of that, right? That is the stuff that hopefully you were able to clean up, so you don't have those moments. But the point here is that there's been a lot of pain and suffering, and I want to put a stop to it. And because it is the season to do so, well, here I am, fulfilling my purpose, being myself, showing you guys who I am and telling you it's okay. If you have these feelings, if you're a dude, if you have these feelings, look into your origins, into your past history, that you're gonna find that these are not bad things. It's the real you trying to emerge, trying to come up, out to play, because that's the whole point. It's so funny, not funny, but it's sad when you realize that we're all spirits here to do spiritual work, be ourselves, so we can, perform our purpose and fulfill our mission. But none of that happens because of the confusion. There's this horrible race of people have been doing to us. And now that is the season. The switch is happening. Like I told you last time, when we realize the power that we have, their way of life is over. It's done. And right now they can feel it. This is why they're making such a big noise about it. They're like, no, we're us. Basically they're. It's like they put the guys over here with the toxic people. All the men go to the toxic side, and all the women, all the pretty girls, all the wonderful, gorgeous, beautiful females, femininity is over here. And it's like, but this is what this evil bastards are doing. They're trying to convince the guys, like, oh, they're against you, they're trying to change you. And it's like, here I am to tell you that no, it is because it is the time of the season. It has to happen. The divine feminine is here, and femininity is meant to balance out all the wrongs that have been happening for all these centuries. Healing things, making things better, improving things, making them more balanced in the way they're meant to be. Not being pulled to the left side of our brain, or the right side, but more of a balance. This is what happens to a guy when it's, For instance, me, as I was discovering my feminine traits, I was becoming more balanced. I wasn't getting as angry, I wasn't getting as volatile, I wasn't being as insulting, as rude, as harsh. I mean, think about it. There was the movie, what's it called, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, True Lies. Oh, even the title sounds perfect. True Lies, right? And here you have, it's this early 90s, and you have a hilarious scene, back in those days. I don't know if it's aged the same way, but it was a hilarious scene because here you have Arnold walking a small little tiny dog, like a Chihuahua or something like that, really like maybe like a wire-haired Chihuahua. I don't remember exactly, but it was a tiny dog, and he's walking it like he's not even, like he doesn't know how to walk a dog, But now what do you see? You see a bunch of big-ass guys with this little tiny pocket dogs, you know what I mean? These Chihuahuas, these Shih Tzus, it's not hilarious to watch. I find it tender, because it's like he's this huge guy, but he has so much love for this little tiny thing, and they treat him like they're their babies, and this, it's wonderful to see. But that's when you see that we're not leaning so much to the left brain, we're making contact with the right, and then the left, and then the right, and then the left, and we're more balanced. We're not aggressive anymore, So that's. I mean, before, that was the big thing, that guys just didn't know how to deal with these things. And now you see guys, what are they, taking care of the children, walking strollers, taking kids to school. Why? Because these boys grew up in broken homes too. They're trying to improve the situation for the next generation. Maybe they didn't have a dad, maybe they didn't have a mom, maybe they didn't have parents at all. And they're dreaming to be parents, and when they become parents, it's like, what? You want me to put an apron on and cook for the girls? Absolutely. You want me to do their hair for them? Absolutely. You want pigtails or you want braids? Oh, you want daddy to paint his nails? Okay, let's paint our nails. So this way, this girl doesn't grow up to learn that guys are hard, and you just have to get with that and put up with it, because guys are hard, guys are mean, guys are harsh, guys hit you, guys will abuse you. But it's okay, because that's how my dad, I learned that from my dad, right? No, these new dads are getting to the level of their children and operating in that field, instead of saying, you kids just do what I say, because essentially an opinion of an adult is completely impractical to a child's mind or to a child's world. So you literally have to I shouldn't say get down to the level, but because there's little tiny things that's short, you have to get down to their level. And don't rain on their parade when they're talking about fantasies and stuff like that. Well, what's the point? What's the point of, they have to put their feet on the ground? Let them dream. But again, that is what someone with feminine energy is able to say. But someone who's never been exposed, my God. It's hilarious to me, because I told you, been a martial artist for over 30 years. I've never backed away from a fight. Only the fights that I walked away from is because you're an idiot. I'm not going to jail because I punched you in the face. I'm walking away. And so again, you become so secure within yourself. It's like, I don't need to fight you. You're a dweeb. I don't need to waste my time. So you just walk away. But that's the idea, that I've been through the ringer. I've seen things that, like I said, and I've been in hard fights. I've been punched and hurt hard, where you can't walk, and now you don't have your leg. Okay, now you don't have your arm. Now you're fighting one arm and one leg. It's that kind of stuff. Like, I've gone through this thing, and I find it so hilarious when I see young dudes trying to be hard. giving you, looking at you like they're looking through the blinds, just through slits. So it's like, oh boy, you need so much help. There's just this protection of, I gotta show hardness. Pah. It doesn't matter how much hardness you show if you don't have the skills to back it up. But they're hoping that scares you. I have an actual gang that meets right outside my window, and when I'm meditating, it's almost like the angels they're always like filtering like dialogue for me to talk to these kids, like show them the right way, because right now they think that they're protecting a territory, a turf. But it's so silly, because once you get out a few blocks out of here, that world is over. Are they going to keep doing that until they're 50, until they're 60? But to them right now, it's everything. And I just when I'm meditating, it's like the angels are feeding me material to let them know, it's like, really? You're better than that. Because they are. I've told them the first time I saw them there, because they were smoking pot, and I'm like, I don't have a problem with them smoking pot, but the fact that is that it was like 15 of them. And the moment I come out, because that's never happened before, I was smelling all this pot smoke, and they're all sitting in the front step, and I come out because I've never seen them before, So I think a neighbor that had just moved in is part of their gang, so that's why, it was like the first time I've seen them gather there, So I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? You guys are smoking here? You guys don't even live here. And they were like running away sheepishly. Why? And I noticed that. And me as a brown man, when I see another brown man walk away sheepishly, it breaks my heart. Because this is what happened from, how we get trained into thinking from the Spanish, from our conquerors, from the invaders. They taught us to be meek. But the Mexica, or the Mexican, was a warring tribe. I mean, this is why they own half of Mexico by the time the Spanish arrived. And like I said before, when you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So the Mexicas had it coming, because they had been abusing the surrounding tribes. But essentially, they were just like the Spartans. If you've seen 300, you know what I'm talking about. They were a military race, a warring race, a warring peoples, a warring tribe, just like the Mexicas. This is why we're so amazing in the fighting arts, because there's no backing down from us, because we're a warring race. So when I see a brown man walking away sheepishly, and I saw these kids, just brown kids, and I said, you guys, I said, because, I just yelled at them. I said, you guys, as brown men, we're not going to get anywhere as long as we don't do things that make us feel proud. Because I saw that they're walking away sheepishly, because they know in their hearts and minds that what they were doing was wrong. Or at least it was deemed wrong by society and the laws, and the cops can come and pick you up because you're smoking pot in the street and things like that. But the point is that if you know all of that, then your mind and your spirit knows all of that. And therefore, you're going to feel guilty when you're doing these things. So if you're doing these things because, I'm going to stick it to the man, fuck it, I'll do it. But you still feel that way, you're not kidding anybody, you're only kidding yourself. Because that means that you still feel... You're starting to welcome shame and guilt and be like, I don't care, but you do care. And pretty soon, you're walking around like this, and whenever you're doing something, you walk away sheepishly because you know that you were doing something wrong, because you feel it. You know what I mean? It's a perfect example. It's like when people are walking their dogs, and their dog poops, and the owner just walks away without picking it up. A lot of the times, they act like they don't care, but they do care. And other times, they do care, and they're hoping that nobody sees them, and they're having a small panic attack because they're just looking around and they're walking away like, la 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 la. And it's like they're going through this emotional turmoil, and it's like, dude, just pick it up. You'll feel better. So you see why I'm not a cheater? You see why I'm not a liar? Because then my spirit, my mind would know. And then I would feel guilty. I would feel shameful about it. And it's like, well, dude, if it makes you feel that way, then don't do it. Do it when you're ready to not feel that way, for instance. You know what I mean? It's not only has it helped me in my life, but it helps me analyze, well, is this job for me? Because when you're working at a job that makes you feel shameful, then you're never gonna get out of being poor in this job. You gotta do a job that makes you feel proud. So when you're looking for a job and you go, okay, I'll do that. Okay, well, make sure you do that for about 2 weeks, because I promise you that whatever money you're getting paid, it's not gonna be enough. Whatever hours they're asking you to work, it's gonna be too much. It's just gonna be too much for you, because essentially your heart is not in it. So these little feelings that is like, I don't know, they let you know, no, forget about it. If it's gonna make you feel bad, then don't do it. I mean, imagine me as an actor. I'm like, I love acting. I love being on set. I love that world. Sometimes when I'm on set, all I do is just watch the crew work, and people are like, "You want to go back to your trailer?" No, I'm here. I love watching the action, watching the process, watching everything happen, you know? So when I watch the movie or the TV show, I'm like, I was there when they were working on that scene. You know, not because of that reason, but it's because all of it fascinates me. But I don't feel so hot if I'm working as background, if I'm working as an extra. Because the treatment is different. And it's because there are hierarchies in the business. When you are a name, they call you Mr. Cardena. And when you don't have a name, they call you, hey, you, go back to holding, which means holding is the place where they hold all the extras, like they're cattle. And they have a man there that basically watches over them, or watches them while the scenes are being shot until, they need more extras, hey, you go over there, they need some people. But that person is called a wrangler, keeping everybody in holding like cattle. But most of all is a treatment, because like I said, there are hierarchies, and a lot of the crew will be kissing the ass of the stars, of the main actors, but then they turn around and they treat the extras and anybody else like crap. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, I could be, if I'm working as a principal, I'm Mr. Cardeña. And if I don't, I'm just, hey, you. If I'm working as background, I respect. But that was it. It's like, because of it, how it made me feel. I mean, these people make you feel bad. So yes, I got this gig as background. So, I'm going to be there for about 12, 16 hours. But, I don't care. It's a movie. It's a TV show. And then I get there and the treatment starts. And you're like, okay, I know that we're going to do that. But by the time those 16 hours end, you're so beat up mentally, emotionally, physically, because they're long hours. But when you're being mistreated, when you're being treated like a third-class citizen, you see why I'm the way I am. Because I've seen these things, and whenever they happen to me, and they happen to me more than once, I go, wait a second, there's a pattern here. And then I start deducing and looking into the what is the root here. Oh, I see. Because if you're trying to make money, if you're trying to build a fortune, if you're trying to build your dreams, feeling shameful ain't gonna cut it, ain't gonna do it, ain't gonna get you there. Feeling guilty, feeling bad about yourself, ain't gonna get you there. So you must look at that. Do something that makes you proud. Do something that uplifts your spirit. Get into careers that make you feel good. So you go like this into work, man. You go whistling. I know I'm not whistling, but imagine how much money you would be able to make that way. Imagine how many hours you would work that way, you would never stop. You wouldn't be like, can I get a break? You wouldn't be looking at the clock, right? Because you would be getting re-energized as you put an energy into that specific task, that specific job. So when you get paid, you probably won't even care because you're having so much fun. But that's high energy. That means high income because of the energy that you're producing. So if you're feeling bad at your job, it's something else that makes you feel good. Even if it's something silly. Because like I said, as long as you're happy, during those productivity hours, if you're happy, you're in a high vibration, you're going to be making the money, 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 money. See? It agrees. Whoever's watching me through my laptop lens. Anyway, they're on to us. Run! Talk to you later, guys.